Yes. Right. Uh, Chairman Cox is not going to be here with us this evening, so I will step in his place just for a moment to call this meeting to order at 5:44 p.m. according to my watch. I will need the committee in place of Chairman Cox to nominate a member of the steering committee for tonight's meeting. Have any nominations? Except Ms. All right. We'll give acting chair for our Myers a moment to take a place at her seat. Get going. No, there was only one nomination.
Acting Chair, act order. And I want to recognize the public and thank you all for coming out this evening. Excited to hear. I think I might have said that I'm very excited tonight. We'll get to do a bit of an Arlington game. Figure out what that. So with that, I will call open comment. Anyone who would like to come forward, recognize, please give me us and add your ask. Will please come forward. Mr. Nagy.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Anthony Nagy. My wife, Exita, and I have lived in Arlington for 45 years. We live at 1000 Curtis Court, zip code 76012. We both are members of a church ministry that belong to and support worldwide organizations that advocate caring for God's creation. Today, we gather to plan the future of Arlington and, in a way, the earth. A future built on the values of sustainability, responsibility, and unity. As we chart our 20-year plan, we must recognize that the choices we make today will determine the world we leave for generations to come. The key objective is a plan that is exemplary to provide a safe environment in which to live, learn, work, and play. There is no doubt that the climate is changing. Dallas has their roadmap to mitigate climate change and promote sustainability. Cities across the United States are lining up to include climate adaptation items in their forward-looking plans. Arlington should strive to be a city with a climate action plan for not only the next 20 years, but to set the example now for its citizenry. I place emphasis on the word now. Incorporating the careful stewardship of resources and the reduction of global warming into our comprehensive plan is not just a necessity, it's a testament to our commitment to a better tomorrow. It begins with a shared vision, one where every Arlington resident plays a part in safeguarding our environment. Public education and example is needed to instill awareness of natural resources and their preservation. Can Arlington be the city whose government uses only green energy and where every resident follows the city's example? The preservation of water is primary and another resource where Arlington city government can educate and emphasize by example and enforcement. Education and example can help show the way. Arlington has a great source of information and a prime example of sustainability in our midst, which is UTA, including its teachers and students. There is an Office of Sustainability within the university. What a resource for you. Thank you for listening. But I have a pet peeve. My pet peeve is city vehicles sitting on the street with nobody in them, jobs going on, and the trucks idling for hours. Not only the city doing this, but all of their contractors. This not only consumes energy and fuel, but contributes a great deal to the pollution of the environment. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Nagy, and to your wife, Exita, for being here today and for those wise words of thought. With that, I will call upon if there's any other comments. Okay, seeing none, then I will move us along to our next portion, which is asking John Chapman to come back to the mic and our long-range planning manager to provide an overview of tonight's meeting.
Awesome. Thank you, Chairman Farrar Myers. My name is John Chapman, as introduced, the Long Range Planning Manager here at the City of Arlington. Just wanted to give a voila to everyone. We have a logo as well as a tiny emblem as well. We're very proud of this, and we want to give a big shout out to our Office of Communications as well as our designer, Kook, for all of their great work on this. So we're excited to get this out there for the community to see and get around. All right, for tonight's agenda, we'll have our welcoming, then we'll move into our engagement and a schedule update for phase 2, go over our draft place type palettes, board game play, vision and goals, and then we'll end up with our next steps.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman. At this time, we will move into our engagement and schedule update. I'll call forth Robin Williams, principal with the J. Williams Group, and Ellie Schaefer, senior project manager with MIG, to present phase 1 engagement themes and provide an update on phase 2 schedule. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Chair. Again, my name is Robin Joseph Williams. I'm glad to be here to give you a few highlights about phase 1 community engagement for this project. And there's a lot of information where that came from, but we're giving you just some brief highlights. There we go. All right, so when we set forth on the journey to engage the public on this, we set forth some guiding principles, and some of those included inclusive communication and participation, information that was collaborative in the approach, and really looking at the multicultural environment and trying to hear from a lot of different groups across age and ethnic groups as well. So to give you some highlights, we have been active since March, and really it was really March to early June where phase 1 took place. So we had 17 in-person engagements along the way. Those included stakeholder interviews, the community workshops that many of you probably attended. We had 2 pop-ups in phase 1. We'll have more in phase 2. Neighborhood focus group meetings, small group meetings, and different presentations. In addition, we have the very important meetings that we've had here on the monthly and bi-monthly basis, very active across digital engagement platforms, and just other types of communication, newsletters, things like that. We also had across these different venues, we had the questionnaire that some of you may have participated in. That went live really through March and April. We had enough responses to give kind of an overview as a good sample size, statistically significant size, you could say. And across the 6 workshops, as you know, across the different council districts, where we had 230 people attend those in person. We had 2 pop-ups, one at Benton Plaza, where we had 90 community members come through there, and we had a pop-up at UTA, which was on Earth Day. Those were both in April, and they went very, very well. We'd say we're pretty happy with the awareness, and really that was the focus of phase 1 too, just general awareness and understanding community priorities. So across different social media interactions and in person, plus we had the utility mailer that went out to households, about 85,000, I'd say over 85,000 reached online across those different avenues. And many of you saw the mayor's video as well, which was very highly viewed. So through the in-person and online themes, we received some good feedback, both in person and online. They tended to be consistent answers across both. We asked, what do you feel are Arlington's greatest strengths? And as you can see, location, parks, and outdoor came up really good, with sports and entertainment venues, and just the community at large were positive strengths for Arlington. Concerns that people had for Arlington's future, traffic congestion came up, no surprise there, public safety and crime, funding for essential services, and community health and wellness. Came up with those questions. Third question we asked, again, in person, people could put a dot opinion, and it was also asked on the written survey. What types of new places do you want to see in Arlington in the future? And the public said parks and open spaces were desirable, walkable shopping areas and lifestyle areas. Mixed use was popular, and just more housing choice. The types of improvements overall that people would like to see in Arlington included safer bike and walking routes, reinvestments in parks and neighborhoods, beautification, and better urban design across the city. We had a question that was more geographic in nature, and we allowed the public to answer the question, where would you like to see new housing and employment go in Arlington? And so respondents were able to look at whether they would like to see housing or employment, both or none. And so there was a sliding bar scale where people could give their opinion on that. And as you can see, in the north, they preferred minimal changes, which probably the highest answer was none there. And so that meant like status quo. Again, with this sample size, most preferred area for both growth of housing and employment was in the central area of the city. The west side of the city was really a little bit different opinions on that. We had, they were tied for neither in terms of desiring employment and housing, and both. So they came up 1-1. So there's some uncertainty there about where, where development truly lies, the desires there. In the Southwest, they were generally supportive of balanced growth in housing and employment, according to the survey respondents. The Southeast, again, supportive of employment opportunities along with balanced growth along the way. East was receptive to mixed use developments, and I guess the entertainment district, we got some interesting feedback there, where we were able to ascertain that people felt that the development in that area was wanted to be sufficient and maintained in that character. But if there was a shift for more development, they wanted to see higher employment in that entertainment district. At the meetings, we had a chance for people to write down their thoughts about what they love about Arlington, and we heard some wonderful things. Location came up great, amenities, the people, libraries, parks, you name it. So again, we were very happy. We gave people many different ways to participate in phase 1, and we're very excited about phase 2. And we appreciate your assistance in helping us get the word out. So thank you. So Ellie's going to come up and talk about the phase 2 schedule.
All right, good evening, everyone. Ellie Schaefer, project manager with MIG. So quick recap on our timeline for this overall Innovate Arlington process. We started sort of Q1 of this year. Currently, we are wrapping up phase 1, baseline and visioning, and have just sort of kicked off phase 2, which is plan development. We'll be in phase 2 through the beginning of next year, and then working on actually drafting the full comprehensive plan itself and going through that adoption process mostly next year, and hoping to wrap up potentially early Q4 of next year. Within phase 2, this just breaks that down a little bit farther. So we've started with putting together the draft place type palette, which you all have seen in your packet before today. I'll talk about that a little bit more. We've also started to kick off some market analysis and developed the board game, which we're going to play tonight. We're just about to kick off public gameplay after tonight as well. So there's going to be a series of game nights throughout the city for the public to play the game and us to get feedback through that. The results from the gameplay, really where people put different place types, will feed into our scenarios that we're going to be doing. So a few different mapping scenarios of how the place types will lay out across the city. That'll be our next key engagement point, is to bring those place type map scenarios to the public and get feedback. And then we'll use that input to do our preferred scenario map, which will land in the comprehensive plan. So that's a little preview of what we've been doing and what to come. The place types palette itself. So I wanted to give a bit of a quick recap on this before we play the game where you're going to actually be using these place types. So what is a place type? It might be your first big question here. You might be familiar with the concept of land use. Land use identifies, a single type of use for a property. Place types are sort of a more holistic tool that look at what is the different mix of uses that might happen within an area. Also, what is the density associated with that, urban form and mobility characteristics. So place types often look at like a slightly larger area of creating complete places. So maybe it's a couple of blocks rather than mapping the color on the map changing every parcel, let's say. So we're looking at sort of larger clusters of places and the components that would be necessary therein. So what that mix of uses and density is on those different place types will have different implications for infrastructure and mobility needs into the future. And we put together this place type. If you recall our last meeting where we were here, we talked about what types of places would you like to see in Arlington, what's out there today. So we took that input as well as community input from phase 1 to put together this draft palette that we have now. Going back to that meeting again, some of the examples of missing places that we heard from you that are missing in Arlington potentially now. A couple specifics were pointed out, things like luxury housing, senior housing options, mixed use areas, social or gathering spaces, light industrial mixed use or innovation creative spaces, large company campuses, and transportation and mobility centers. So I will flip through our place types in sort of 3 different groupings. First is the neighborhood place types. These are primarily residential uses, but with some mix therein as well. The first one is estate/suburban neighborhood. So this is the lowest density place type, consists primarily of single family homes, maybe in larger estate lots or suburban format development, typically just 1 to 3 stories. We're familiar with this place type. It exists in several places in Arlington today. Next place type in our palette is urban neighborhood. So this is still primarily residential, but includes more of a mix of housing types, more density, in addition to those lower single family density housing options. Here, building heights could get up to 5+ stories. And also you might start to see more mix of uses, mixed use developments, and more jobs present mixed into urban neighborhoods. And then third is neighborhood nodes. So this might be a small cluster of primarily commercial or office uses that really serve the surrounding neighborhood. So maybe some jobs there, some amenities in sort of a small, generally small format. Then we get to destination place types. So these are mostly focused on retail, entertainment, and leisure. Starting with downtown, downtown Arlington is unique enough that it kind of calls for its own place type. So of course, it's very mixed in use. Building heights range 1 to 6+ stories up to 12 stories, and more dense with housing and lots of jobs. Entertainment cultural destination. This is areas that, obviously the sports stadiums, entertainment district comes to mind, could include recreation areas or shopping centers where there's potentially some housing mixed in, lots of jobs, 2 to 12+ stories, or even up to 24 would be allowed. Urban corridor. So this is looking at just really a mixed use type of place, generally formatted along a major thoroughfare with a lot of attention to the mobility across and along that thoroughfare itself. So moving people between uses with the density sort of focused in a linear format. And then we have mixed use center. So in contrast to the previous corridor-oriented place type, this would be more of a larger cluster of mixed uses. So that could be anything commercial, retail, residential, office, et cetera. This would be our most one of our most dense place types in terms of jobs. And then our last destination place type is regional open space. So primary land uses of parks and recreation, natural areas and preserves, pretty limited development associated with these place types. My last category is the employment place types. So these are areas that are primarily focused on providing jobs. First is commerce hubs. So this is those commercial retail shopping centers that are maybe more auto-oriented, but also really prioritize having pedestrianized areas therein as well. Right now we have this place type would allow for some mixed use and some housing as well as the jobs and commercial uses. Campus place type. So this might be educational, of course, could also be research or a medical campus, maybe a cultural center, or even an office campus. So these can range 1 to 6+ stories, mostly sort of internally oriented users traveling between, buildings of often one institution, although it could be more. And there's usually some housing and some jobs in there as well. Employment district. So this is sort of to capture areas with really high job density, and also could be things like heavier industrial or manufacturing types of uses, warehousing, distribution, and some offices likely in the mix as well. So areas really dedicated to employment without housing included in them. And then innovation creative districts. So these are areas that maybe are still functioning as light industrial or used to be light industrial and are now being sort of transformed into serving more of a creative or startup economy. So these can be pretty unique settings. Mixed use can allow for housing alongside those jobs. So with that is the overview of our place types. I'll hand it over to Marco, who's going to give us an intro to our board game, and then we can start to play the game.
Actually, Mr. Hinojosa, before you start, is there any questions by anyone on the committee? Yes, Mr. Lambus.
Hi, Mike Lambus. Two comments, if I could. The first one on your, once again, on your estate suburban neighborhood place type. Once again, you've included cottage clusters in that particular estate suburban neighborhood. And in my own opinion is that that cottage cluster is a little bit too dense to be into that category. From my experience with planning and zoning in the past, I know we've had difficulty when we have a cottage community come before planning and zoning with the city council. We've had trouble defining that category, and we ended up using multifamily housing as a go-around to allow the cottage community to be approved at planning and zoning. So that's my comment, is that I think it's a little too dense for that category. Pull it out and just leave it in the urban neighborhood. And the other comment that I have is, as far as place types, I think that we've missed an opportunity to have a place type to promote and encourage our, what I call an education district. And that could include the UTA campus that you have in the campus side. So education, UTA, Tarrant County College. But if you look at Southwest Arlington and the area that, let's say from Pleasant Ridge, where Martin High School is, south to the Kennedale borderline, Mansfield borderline, there are a significant amount of not just AISD, Kennedale and Mansfield schools. There's probably 7 or 8 AISD, maybe 2 or 3 Kennedale, and about 3 Mansfield schools in that one little district between what I call Southwest Arlington. But there are also other schools that we can promote and encourage, like St. Joseph's Catholic School, or there's Grace Prep, and there's Newman Academy, North Store High School. There's a lot of other parochial and ITL, the charter schools that are in that area. When people come to Arlington to look, they're looking for education sometimes for their children. And I think that if we don't have a place type that promotes education, that we're missing an opportunity there. So I'd like to focus that as a place type perhaps. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Great. Thanks so much for the comments. One thing I just want to clarify too is I hear what you're saying, a dedicated place type for education. To clarify, schools would be allowed and encouraged in any place type. We don't call them out as not allowed, generally speaking. So schools, churches, parks, those sorts of community uses are typically included in every use. But thanks for the comments. Appreciate it.
Any other comments? Yes, sir.
Yeah, question. Transit-oriented development, which place type would that fit in more? Is that like a downtown destination type place or transit-oriented development? Where would those fit more in?
Yeah, I think it could be a mix. Transit-oriented development can come in different flavors and scales. So I think it could probably be really any of those mixed use centers. The urban corridor could have, in theory, in the future, transit. Even an urban neighborhood if it was a more residential flavor with higher density residential. So I think a lot of them could be, in theory, transit-oriented.
Mr. Rankins?
Thank you. On the education suggestion or education specific place type, I'm just curious, how would that differ from a education focused campus? Is that different some way? Because typically the definition so far, and again, this is a draft palette, so definitely invite suggestions and additions. But the idea with a campus is that it doesn't necessarily have to be just a single owner. It could be multiple owners. And you see that a lot with medical districts, even civic or government campuses. There may be city and county or something like that. And so I think the same could be true for educational campus, but is there a distinction in your mind from a campus or what you were discussing?
Not necessarily. I'm just looking for a way to promote the educational opportunities that we offer in the city other than the public school system. When people look at Arlington AISD or MISD, they're looking at the ratings of the school districts, which in the past few years that haven't been the greatest. But they kind of sidestep, and I think some of the ratings for the other type of alternative schools that we have here in the city are just not elevated enough. And I want a mechanism that we can promote that and educate people coming into our city to be able to be aware of those opportunities for their children. However that happens, I just want to make sure that we are able to promote that.
Yeah, that's great. I think the way that we do that instead of introducing a new place type is articulating that a little bit more in the campus place type, and then in those neighborhood place types, talk about, just as Ellie was mentioning, we would assume that schools would encourage that, right? It's a great style of development that historically was done with the school as a hub for a neighborhood. Same thing with neighborhood parks and community parks. So I think we can do a better job of articulating that as we roll this out for the community.
Thank you, Mr. Rankins, principal in charge from MIG, for that clear understanding of what we can do to proceed. Other questions or comments by the committee? All right, not seeing one, I'll recognize Mr. Hinojosa, who is our deputy project manager with MIG. He'll review our Growing a Better Arlington board game. So pay attention. He's going to tell us all about the rules.
So yeah, this is the,
Yeah, provide the committee with instructions on how to play. So pay keen attention, folks.
yeah, I feel so bad that the community's here, but I promise you the chance for you all to play is going to come soon. So don't worry too much. But yeah, we're very excited to announce the game that we've been working on to help mimic the real life problem that we're having here in major Texas cities, and the fact that, a lot of our communities here are growing very rapidly, but there's not much room to grow. So we're hoping that this game allows the community and anyone who's looking to engage with us during this next round of engagement to understand how that dilemma works. So we did some analysis, and I'll let, because of time's a little short, I do want John to come through each table and kind of explain numbers. But in 2045, we expect that Arlington would need about 15,000 new housing units and 30,000 new jobs. So during this game, you guys will actually be the planners, the decision makers, the visionaries, to help plan the future of Arlington through this game by placing where these new jobs, amenities, and houses should be placed to encourage, places that are great to, live in, work, play, and then learn. So as part of this game, and you all already voted on your vision, so that's already placed for you all in this board. But this vision will be the framework of how the gameplay will be set up for you all. It can be different each time, so don't worry if you didn't like the vision you were dealt with. There's other opportunities to have a little more tailored experience. But during the game, you'll be gathering resources with your teammates through the combination of public and private coins. And these represent the different funding that can go towards private development, but also public amenities. But this game is going to be very strategic on where you place new development and amenities. So there's different areas that have different cost associations depending on the type of area it is. So we have areas that are vacant, we have areas that are established, and then we have opportunity areas as well, each with their own different costs to place amenities and development. But as we know, the real world is pretty crazy sometimes. So to kind of reflect that, we have these prompt cards that you all will have to draw that will give you different scenarios that you all will have to react to. But this is a team effort, so we want you all to work together to achieve the growth targets that we identified, but also the amenities that need to be placed to make sure that the quality of life for Arlington in the future is good for everyone. So we have 4 boards here. I think we have about 16 members, so we're going to have 4 people per board. And then we have city staff and consultant team members who will be acting as the city managers to help guide you through the gameplay. We'll also be looking for feedback. So at the end of the game, we'll do a 2-minute report out just to see, what are some themes that your team discuss, what are some challenges, any disagreements. But we'd love to hear that today as well. So with that, I'll ask you all to move around. We have some chairs at the corners too. So
So just not to interrupt, my apologies.
Oh.
I'm going to call on Mr. Chapman to explain where you're sitting and why you're sitting. I think that
Yes.
clarity on that might be helpful for the group.
All right, so at each game. So the first 4 on this leg is at the game at the corner on this table. The 4 gentlemen over here are at the game over at this end. Dr. Farrar Myers, you are over here with these 4 gentlemen, and then the 4 of you will be at the game over here. Community members, you are absolutely welcome to walk around and listen in on the conversations that are happening at the games. We do ask that because of time, just kind of let the committee members play. But as Mr. Hinojosa said, we will have community engagement with the board game. I believe might have already been emailing someone in that group about gameplay. So we definitely look forward to playing with y'all.
Just for clarity's sake, how long do we have in our breakout groups?
45 minutes.
So 45, it's 6:17. We have 45 minutes and then we'll be reporting back. So make sure you do pick a reporter to report back out your small group findings. Thank you, Mr. Hinojosa. Good luck playing the game.
But one of the things that I projection could be, I mean, it could be that. Generally, maybe. Straight buzz, but yeah, I'm. Impacting on my own. Okay, so you guys. Yeah, they can say it's like. definitely something we want to. We also. We place it on. Can't do anymore. You don't get the training development time. Yeah. Other thing. Yeah, that was good. Right. Back to bullet. And you have quite a few. You gotta see my ass. So you can put any of these down, or if you want to see what else, you just use
creative economy, talent, if I'm in front of a great point. Yeah, you can roll. Yeah. I think you just don't play on that. I'm gonna blame it on it. Oh, See, he got a fire, you know, money. Oh, like the surf, the Rockefeller over here. No, you're good. Gonna add 5 minutes.
Yes. All right, we are finishing our 45-minute gameplay. I went around, but I want to make sure it's at least on record for what we're going to do next. We're gonna add a 5-minute timer so y'all can kind of stop playing the game, but we want to make sure we get a complete understanding for your final product of the game itself. So if you'll go ahead and as a group finish placing those place types that you might have on your resource management board, as well as placing all the amenity tokens. And then just a reminder, please let us take photos of your completed boards before removing anything. Hope you all had a great time playing.
you want to trade? Entertainment. Campus. You guys. Do the math. You guys have to.
All right. All right, if y'all could go ahead and make your final adjustments on that map. Raise your hands and I'll come around and take a photo of it real quick when you're finished. All right, if everyone could start making their way to their seats, we will do our 2-minute per group report out.
I get the black cloud.
All right, if we can all.
Clicker's not working.
Clicker's not clicking?
Nope, nope.
Math
not-
isn't math?
Hey, John. Not working. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, somewhere.
All right, everyone. I know everybody's making their way back to their seats. How do you enjoy that? Interesting, huh? Did anybody get to the 15,000 jobs?
We do.
Yeah, okay, so one of our groups did. And did anybody get to the 15,000 housing and 30,000 jobs? Okay, so one group did, all right. Well, I know there's lots of things that we want to tell, and I know I will never recover from losing my headquarters. That's just, it'll forever stay with me. But at this point, I'm just going to call upon Jay Rankins, who's just going to ask for some comments. So if you all would think about, reflect on your process and add some comments out here, I know you would love to hear them.
Yeah, fantastic. So we do want to be respectful of your time. So we have about 15 minutes remaining in the meeting. And we did want to cover one more topic, but wanted to take a few comments on the gameplay. It could be around the game creation, sort of the organization. Also just maybe tough conversations you had or, debate, anything of interest. Yeah.
This game really made me aware how important it is to know our city and to also understand that our citizens don't know our city.
Mm.
Myself included, there are areas I had to really think hard to know what's over there.
Yeah.
And I drive all over the place. So many people are isolated. Equity was key, I think, consideration for us. We didn't name that until the very end.
Yeah.
Equity for all of our citizens, opportunity to go to all the, I loved that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm hopeful that it facilitates discussion and learning about different parts of the city. Maybe something we can add to the instructions is to, encourage people to use Google Maps, on their phones or tablet while they're playing, because I think that would be helpful. Understand, what's in a particular area. Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you. We had a very collaborative effort. I don't think that individually we could have done a very good job. Even though first 10, 15 minutes we had to spend trying to understand what is going
What the
on
heck
and
this is.
what are we supposed to do. But in the end, all's well that ends well. And I think our team was very friendly and collaborative. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Any other thoughts people want to share?
Jay,
Yeah.
so we think our group was a little bit timid in the beginning, and then we caught on that be able to replenish our public dollars, we had to do something that was generating the revenue. So needed to be a little bit more aggressive on investing and the things that were generating tax dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think to like help with maybe like she was saying, people understanding like where they are, maybe putting like popular landmarks that are like there. So like obviously we know that AT&T Way is where the stadium is, but like
Yeah.
saying like AT&T Stadium, like marking that where that would be, or like
Yeah.
a Six Flags. Or if we're going down south, like TCC Southeast is right here, so that, or right, UTA is, you get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that helps people be able to better visualize like
That's a
where
great.
they're placing things, because I know you can say go to Southwest Arlington and my mom's like, I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, go here. And I'm like, oh, okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
So
That's a really good tip. I think we will try to do that.
A comment here. Appreciate the how the prompt cards caused you to pivot. I think for my team, we were well on our way to meeting these numbers, and then a prompt card kind of threw us off. And the appreciation of what goes into these planning and those type of events. So Glad that was included to throw that, that monkey wrench into the plans, just so we can see how it really works in the real world.
Yeah, thank you. One more comment maybe? Or is that it? Good? All right.
Okay, well then, seeing none, and I know you'll be reflecting on that and have some more thoughts. There was one thing that came out of our group, just to add, making sure that that downtown place, that it marked that you only, in the rules, that it's only can be used in downtown.
Oh, we cheated then. Okay.
Yeah, well, no, we didn't. We got called out for that, so we were thinking about that. Anyway,
Okay.
just a thought.
Yeah.
I'd like to move us along, since we are getting low on time, to our vision and goals for Innovate Arlington Comprehensive Plan. And Jay, I know you're going to walk us through the vision and framework and let us know a little bit more about what the community needs to look forward to, as well as the workbook activity that is in front of you. It should be at your places.
Great. Thank you so much. So the vision framework, in essence, is made up of, and you can see, you should have a handout at each of your, I know you moved around, but should have one of these near your seat or at your seat.
Looks like this, ladies and gents.
Yes. So the vision elements are sort of these key pieces you're seeing around the petals of the flower. We do have goals associated with each, which I can advance a slide and show you the descriptions of the vision elements. The goals appear on the subsequent pages of the handout. And so we have somewhere between 3 and 4, I think is the max, or 2 and 4. 2 and 4 goals associated with each of these vision elements right now. And we'll just step through one by one. And if you're on your sheet, this is just a quick temperature check. I know this is very quick, within about 10 minutes. You will be doing another session as a steering committee, doing a deeper dive into the vision elements goals to prompt or to set us up for further identification of metrics, policies, and recommendations throughout the rest of the effort. The first is vibrant and safe. So Arlington is viewed as a great place to live that residents are proud to call home, with beautiful neighborhoods, vibrant and fun gathering places, access to daily needs and amenities, and a variety of housing options. It is this first page. Once you turn the page, so I guess second page. So there's 4 goals there. So if you can just read the goals, I'll give you maybe 45 seconds or so to do that. Indicate if you love them, if you're neutral, or kind of back to the drawing board, start over. And then you don't have to write a full goal, but if you think there's topics within the vibrant and safe kind of vision element that are missing, please put those in the box in the lower right. So it could just be a phrase, a word, little sentence, but it'll just give you a minute or so to do that. And again, this is just a initial kind of temperature check on this. We'll tweak it before the next time you dive into it based on your input, but you will have substantial bite at the apple yet. Okay, the next vision element, and you can keep writing, but next vision element area is innovative and thriving. So Arlington is a world-class city serving as a leader in innovation with thriving residents and businesses that contribute to a prosperous local economy. We have 4 goals there. One about more folks living and working in Arlington. Another about supporting organizations and workforce development. One about attracting and retaining employers, so businesses, particularly with high-paying jobs that support local talent. And one about supporting small businesses small business incubation, entrepreneurship. So again, do you love these? Kind of neutral right now, or you really dislike them, you think we should start over? And then any concepts you think are missing from the goal. I'll keep moving, but wherever you're at, that's fine. Connected and walkable. Arlington's destinations are connected to neighborhoods with multimodal infrastructure that allows comfortable, safe, and convenient options for how residents and visitors get around. So note the vision element description is talking about all modes, but we have, one of the reasons that we're calling it connected and walkable is there was quite a bit of emphasis on that in this sort of first phase of community engagement. People wanting more places to walk to and more walkable infrastructure. Those three goals there. One about promoting active modes with investment in infrastructure for multimodal travel. One about providing innovative public transportation options. So continue to explore and innovate and push the leading edge public transportation. And then a goal around vehicular transportation as well. Right, I'll keep walking through. Sustainable and healthy. Arlington plans for future resiliency, invests in sustainable infrastructure, prioritizes community health, and protects open spaces and the natural environment. 4 goals associated with that. One around protecting and providing public open spaces and parks. One around promoting community health, wellness, and recreation. One about preserving natural environments and resources. And one around sustainable and resilient infrastructure, preparing for the future. All right, and then the last vision element is welcoming and community culture. Arlington welcomes a diverse community that contributes to a rich local culture represented through community involvement, events, arts, and entertainment. And right now there's just 2 goals there. Celebrate community culture and history through support for the arts, public events, and historic preservation. And ensure regular and clear communication between the city and the public to support engaged citizens. I think we're hopeful that you all and the community can help us fill out, a couple additional goals here. We'll give you about a minute on this yet, and I guess you can keep writing, but whenever the chairwoman decides, turn it over to John for some closing remarks and next steps. I know I said it twice already at least, but just one more time. This is just an initial pass at these, getting some initial input from you all. We wanted to take the opportunity since we were with you all today, but you will do a deeper dive into goals and then help us with measurable metrics associated with the goals and then building out recommendations and policies associated with those. And the last thing I'll say as part of this activity is please leave that at your seat. Do not take that with you so that we can actually collect that input and incorporate it before the next time you see those. Yes, please. Yeah, I think everything else you received you can take with you, but if you can just leave the one that we were just writing in, that would be great.
I know some of you are still finishing up, but feel free to finish your thoughts. But I'm just going to call upon John to talk to us about next steps and future meeting dates.
Absolutely. Well, first, thank you all for playing the game with us tonight. I'm sure we got some good feedback and some great results that we'll dive into more. Coming up next here in July, we have public gameplay of the board game itself. I will follow up with an email to y'all for an interest form. Please complete that form. A lot of y'all are in other organizations here in Arlington, whether that be HOAs, churches, or other religious groups, schools. Please fill this form out. What we would like to generate is some game nights with groups that y'all are familiar with and affiliated with to get more feedback. It's going to be very important. Just so that y'all are also aware, all of the libraries will have 3 board games each, 2 that will be available for the public to have on loan, and 1 that will stay at each library. And then we will have a couple of community events as well. So more on that as we're finalizing that schedule. But it is very important that not only we kind of get the word out, but we really need y'all's help here. Market analysis and place type
Mr. Chap,
graphics. Yes.
quick question, just on the community groups, how much time, I'm just judging on the complexity of our group and what it took us to get going.
Correct.
For a community group, are we suggesting it's going to be like a 2-hour block of time at a minimum, or what are you thinking?
I would recommend that as we talk to y'all about what you're envisioning for that group exercise, if it's amongst yourselves, I would anticipate 90 minutes for your group. If you would like to invite a staff member to provide any presentation as part of the gameplay to kind of catch everyone up to what we've been doing over the past couple of months, I would recommend 2 hours. Yes.
Didn't want to take that block of time.
Great question, and I did not mention that. So we will have a single player mode, I guess. It will be an online survey where anyone who does not really want to play the game or doesn't have the time to commit themselves, yes.
Sorry, John. So in addition to that, we were planning on, once we nailed down the full version of the game, including a section of the instructions for a quick play. We're not positive how long that will take, but something more along the lines of 15 to 20 minutes. Yeah, maybe. But it's more just, yeah, it's more about playing it and less about the dollars and, yeah, or the coins.
We have another question.
Have other cities that you worked with used this mode of engagement game?
Yes.
So they have, and.
Yep. We've done it with 6 different communities now.
Okay. Because I think it's very exciting, but I was also early in the night disappointed in less than 1,000 people engaging with us. Besides being exposed
so
to that in
far.
the numbers, 85,000 exposures, but less than 1,000 people who've led us to here.
Yeah.
Is there a way for us to get more people engaged? Or is that now up to us to help enroll people to play?
I don't know the numbers for every community, but I do know Charlotte off the top of my head because I just did a presentation with their staff. And we had over 5,000 people play the game. So it was in part the staff doing a really good job of reaching out to existing groups and seeing if they were willing to play. But it also created a lot of excitement. And so there was a lot of requests for gameplay from organizations, from schools. There was a big uptick in youth participation at that point. But also just, sort of individuals who decided to take it out to, sort of the equivalent of renting it or checking it out, from the library. and they took it to a pub or, that sort of thing.
And so will this only happen in July, or is that when it launches?
Timeline wise, guys?
It launches in July,
Gameplay
but it will go
through-
through August.
It can continue at least through August. We can talk about it with John though.
And we're coordinating with UTA on 2 events with UTA, both with Kappa and a larger welcome back event with the population on campus.
The reason I ask that is because I think this is a really important tool for teachers to give us
Yes.
input on. Have that opportunity. Thanks.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm excited to announce that one of the prompts we had, the Cowboys won the Super Bowl.
Your favorite prompt card?
So as we start digging into some of the results from the game, MIG and the city will begin drafting some of those scenarios that we're learning from the public about how they want this evolution of Arlington to be over the next 20 years. September, we will do a fiscal analysis based on some small areas in Arlington to assess, based on our draft place types, what's going to be economical, both for the market in that area, but also looking at the public side. And then October, we'll do our scenarios feedback and key policy choices. And then that will lead into our larger public engagement that's also in November, similar to the open houses we had in phase 1. So for your July 17th meeting, we won't have a meeting necessarily, but we are inviting y'all to a CPSC hosted game night here at the Downtown Library in Rebrary A and B. That will be an opportunity for y'all to invite your friends and family. It will also be open to the public to come play as well. So more details on that is part of my follow-up communication to y'all after tonight's meeting. October 21st is TBD. That it will be up to y'all to kind of decide.
August 21st.
I'm sorry, August 21st. Thank you. As well as September. The MIG team would be back for the group back in October and November to talk about those scenario alternatives that we learned from the gameplay, as well as the preferred scenarios based on y'all's feedback at your October meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. I just wanted to say thank you to our public who is here tonight, and thank you for staying all the way through and watching us play. We really appreciate it. Hope you will also help us in terms of participating and helping reach out to those that, as Ms. Henderson pointed out, the need for more people to engage in this process. Thank you so much, MIG, all of our folks, John, as always, and to all of you for this wonderful honor to sit in the seat for all of tonight. So thank you so much. See, there's no further business before us. I will go ahead and adjourn us officially at 7:38, and thank you for those extra minutes of your life. Be safe on the way home.